found diagrams like this, but for the US, this was the goiter belt. This is where if you lived here, you got goiter, but if you lived here, you didn't get goiter. The question is, why is it spatial? Okay, so that's our question. And then we come in for the hypothesis. Okay, I'm going to show you all the different hypotheses, asking, why is this happening this way? And then once you get the hypothesis, you figure out what data to collect, and then how to analyze the data, the synthesis. And one of the last slides Tom is going to put together is sort of our basic framework for how we approach this towards the end of the lecture. We bring in the scientific principles of chemistry, physics, and biology, and of course we understand the system and how processes are working. Let's take a look at how this works. For the goiter system, 40 hypotheses were proposed, because they really didn't know what was happening. Iodine deficiency was there, hard water was important, a goiterogenic substance, which I looked up the definition of a goiterogenic substance, and the definition of that is any substance that makes goiter. And it turns out that some of the best things we eat, broccoli, spinach, are goiterogenic substances, so it's, who knows, or pathogens. Now, if we take a look at this, I told you it's spatial. It was recognized from early explorers that Native Americans who lived in the upper part of America had goiter. Okay? I did some work in Mexico just to see what the goiter problem was here. There has been goiter, and recently as 2002, there was still concern about it. But there was even evidence, like for our Native Americans, pre-Columbian goiter, and the way they looked at that is they found some statues, and they could see in the statues that they had goiter. So it's universal for the North American continent. That is a statue of goiter, but unfortunately it's not from Mexico, it's from Norway. I couldn't find one from Mexico, but this gives you an idea of in here that you can see that evidence of goiter. So how do we do this? We bring science to the table. We find up in the northern part of Michigan, of the U.S. rather, where there's goiter, there's no iodine in the soil. Well, why? That's odd, right? Why is there no iodine in the soil? Well, we answer that question, you learn process, and you learn chemistry. What we know about iodine in the normal pH range of the environment, which is normally what we have in Michigan, iodine is extremely soluble. It would want to be in the liquid phase rather than the solid phase. Second thing we know, 30,000 years ago, glaciers came down. 9,000 years ago, the glaciers left. And when the glaciers left, they melted. And when they melted, they flushed all the iodine out of the soil. And so in the northern part of the U.S., there's no iodine, just because the glaciers did this. So this is a really nice story. Why is it spatial? It's natural environmental processes that caused it. If you lived up there, you got goiter. If you lived down here, you didn't get goiter. Michigan was the first state in the U.S. to put iodine in salt. You know what happens in Tom Boyce's hometown, the Grand Rapids, that was the first place they put iodine in salt.